So moving on, the most important type of search that we are going to see today are infringement search and freedom to operate search. Now, I would like to shift a bit focus from the perspective of patent filing and patent drafting to infringement and freedom to operate search. Now, basically, novelty and patentability search are the only two search that are really required to be done before the filing of a patent application. Now these different type of search, they are also categorized under the patent searching but have some different scope to it. The term infringement search is really important here because as I told you, if you break the terms, you will understand a search which is used to perform or used to check whether anything is infringing or not. Infringing in very layman term, it is referred to as copying. If something is being copied by something else or not, right? So since this is a field of patent and IPR, we will expect that whether our IPR or whether our patent is being copied by somebody or not. Now, how can one copy a patent? So patent cannot be copied. What they can copy is the end result or the end outcome of the patent. So for example, if I already filed a patent application and I know that this would be the end result of my product. For example, my invention is about an engine which actually helps to run a vehicle using water, right? So this is my invention. So I filed a patent for it. So patent will not be copied, but somebody will try to make a car or make a two-wheeler vehicle which tries to utilize your engine in that particular vehicle. So this infringement search is always associated with the products that are available in the market and the patent which is filed by the inventor or the applicant in the for the IPR. So whatever concept written in the patent, if somebody tries to copy and implement in the product, that kind of search is being done for referred to as infringement search. As the name indicates, infringement, whether any product is copying my patent or technology, right? This is very important to understand here. So infringement search is always associated with a product and it is always in view of the patent document, right? Now, freedom to operate, and let us say it is also referred to as clearance to search. Basically, it is also a type of infringement search, but here the scenario changes. Here we have product first in our hand and we try to find whether this product is copying any of the concepts of the patent application. Try to understand the difference. The end purpose of both infringement search and freedom to operate search are same. It only depends in which side you are standing on. So for example, my invention is about a same. Let us take an example about an engine of a vehicle. Now, if I have drafted a patent application, that means my concept, I have drafted a patent for engine and I have filed it at the Indian Patent Office. And I want to check whether any product is copying my patent or not. So if this is a scenario, then it would be categorized under infringement search. Whereas if I am the person who has a product, for example, TVS or for example, Bajaj, these are the people who are having product of engine, for example, engine. So they have manufactured an engine. They will check whether this engine is copying anybody else's patent which is already filed or which is already granted or not. When a person who is having product does a search, such type of search is referred to as freedom to operate search. When a person having a patent does a search, he is referred to as a infringement search. A person who copies the patent application is called as infringer. A product who copies a patent application is referred to as an infringing product. I hope these things are clear to you. At one point, you may feel it is a bit confusing, but as soon as you take an example and demonstrate it, yourself will understand that this is where a thin line of difference is. Let me reiterate quickly the difference. Infringement search is a search which is generally performed by a person who is having a patent application with him, his own or his client's patent application, and he tries to find which are the products that are available in the market and whether they are copying or overlapping with the proposed invention in that particular patent application or not. In contrast to this, freedom to operate or clearance search is a type of search which is generally done by people who has product from their manufactured a product of their. In this particular search, the product is checked against the patent whether it is actually copying or whether it is overlapping with any of the concepts which are already there in the patent application. In infringement search, I find product. In freedom to operate search, I find patents. Right? So this is very important point of differences here. We are going to go into details of each and every search, but let us just understand the basics here. If you are able to identify the differences between these cells here itself, all the further slides that we are going to discuss will be very easy for you to understand. Okay. Now we have discussed infringement search and freedom to operate search. Validity and invalidity search. Basically, it should have not been slash here. It should be and there. So basically, these are two types of search. As the name indicates, what do you mean by validity? Validity means this is currently existing, and invalidity means which is not existing, right? So validity search is a search which actually helps to identify owner of a patent, whether his patent is still having novelty, inventive step and industrial applicability or not. Now this is very important concept to understand here. Validity and invalidity search are those search which actually are performed by the inventors or applicants for their own patent, right? Sometimes what happens is, like, since examiner being a human being, the controller being the human being, they actually tend to miss some of the prior art references which may be overlapping and based on which the patent could have been rejected, sorry. But eventually, because these people missed citing or missed finding such results, the patent got granted. Okay. So frankly speaking, it is legally or logically incorrect. That patent should have not been granted because there were some prior art references there. So what this inventor whose patent is granted, he tries to check whether I have got a patent document granted because the examiner was not that capable of finding prior art references, or whether my invention is really technically strong in itself. So whenever such search is performed by the inventor or the applicant of for his own granted patent, such search is called as validity patent or validity search. Okay, understood? So this search, let me reiterate, validity search is a search which is performed by the owner of the patent to check whether my invention can be cancelled or should have not been granted in the first step or not. Okay. Now, in India, there is also a scenario, or even in the across the globe, US or any other country, there is a concept called as cancelling the patent. So here, each of the government of a particular country allows any person, any interested person, to come up and file a kind of request by which a patent which is already granted uh, should be or can be cancelled because it should have not been granted in the first step. A request of such kind can be filed. In India, it is called as opposition or revocation, whereas in US and other countries, it is called as invalidation. Basically, what you are trying to do indirectly is that you are trying to cancel somebody else's patent which should have not been granted because of XYZ reasons. Okay. So this search, invalidity search, is a search which is performed by a competitor to find whether any of the patents that are available in the market that can create a potential threat to his product or his patent application. Clear? Let me reiterate. Invalidity search is a search which is performed by a competitor, not the person who owns the patent. In contrast to validity search, wherein the validity search is performed by the person whose patent it is or a patent is granted for him, right? So in invalidity search, the patent search is performed by a competitor, and he tries to check whether his product which he plans to launch or plans to sell it in the market, whether it can be cancelled or it can be legally there can be any threat for that particular product in the market based on any of the patent applications filed in in any country or not. This is what he checks. So if he finds any of such patent, if he finds any of such patent application, he can file a request. This request, I told you, in India it is called as opposition or revocation, and in United States basically the process is called as invalidation process. So this person can try to cancel that patent which actually may pose threat to his product in future. So the intention of the search really matters here. If the intention is to check whether the my invention has merits and it cannot be cancelled in future, or it cannot be revoked, or it cannot be invalidated in future, this search is called as validity search. Whereas when a search is performed to find or to cancel the granted patent or a patent application, it is called as invalidity search. So it completely depends on which side you are standing on, right? So sometimes people in the industry choose these terms interchangeably because ultimately the purpose, at least the purpose of the search is slightly overlapping to find whether I can cancel a patent or not, or whether my patent gets cancelled or not. There are very few people in the industry who identifies the actual thin line of difference between validity and invalidity search. So let me reiterate a thin line of difference here. Validity search is a search which is checked, which is performed to check whether my patent can be cancelled in future or not. Whereas invalidity search is a search which is performed to cancel the patent. So I know that there is a patent, and I know that this will create a problem to my product, and I have to cancel that patent so it should not cause any problem through my patent. So this type of search is called as invalidity search. IP landscape or white space analysis or grayscale analysis is a very different kind of search, wherein in this search basically people in research and development focus to find whether I have some area of technology where I can invest my time, effort and money for future inventions. So this search is basically from the perspective of future, right? So let us take an example of it. So for example, I am working in a industry, R&D industry, where my industry is associated with coming up with a new mobile manufacturing, or let us say new mobile phones. So whenever I try to suggest this kind of search, I will have to consider all the people or all the industries across the globe to see what they have done till date in the mobile technology. Am I correct? Only then I will be able to understand where I am standing and where my invention I can do a research on, right? Or on what particular point a research can be made. Now, when you go into details of it, mobile phone can have multiple parts. It can have battery, it can have screen, it can have any other RAM or internal memory and stuff. Let us focus on the battery. Battery in itself is a technology. So at the moment, I want to see that what all developments has happened in the mobile device having battery technology, and what all kinds of batteries are used in such mobile phones. So firstly, I will try to find what are the batteries that are available in the globe which can be used in mobile phone, and what is the development in those batteries also, right? So for example, what are the various powers of the batteries that are available and can be used in a mobile phone. Now this, once I get all these data, I need to analyze where actually I have a scope to develop. For example, all the batteries, one of the major problem that is observed is that they are actually, the charge is finished soon. So they get discharged very rapidly or very fastly when they are used in mobile phone, especially the smartphones. So one of the problems I have noted that the problem is the batteries are not strong in securing or storing the charge. So out of those results, whatever I have found having battery in which are used in the mobile phone, I will try to find those batteries which are having better or maximum type of battery backup, or which can stand for a long time in spite of the usage in the smartphone. So when I find that particular thing, I'm actually trying to narrow down the results here. For example, if I find the documents which may be in lakhs and crores for mobile phone, I will try to reduce it by restricting my understanding or search only to those mobile phones which are battery based, right? then automatically my those crores of results would be diverted to, for example, 1 lakh results. Now further I am adding a layer of restriction that I want the results which are having mobile phone which uses battery, and that too the battery has a battery backup of more than 12 hours. So the results out of those 1 lakh would be restricted only to 100 results, right? This is how you do a narrow downing of a search. Out of those 100 results, I want to see how many of those documents are associated with Apple, Samsung or Microsoft. Then out of those 100, each of these things there will be distributed like 5, 10, 15, 20. And then I would find a specific proposal which I can think, for example, usage of solar energy to charge these batteries in a go. That means whenever a phone is used by a person in a sunlight, the phone gets charged automatically. How many people out of those 100 have actually performed such search? Whenever I get an answer for this and whenever I do such kind of activity, this type of search is called as IP landscape search. White space analysis, as the name indicates, I am trying to find a particular region or space in this particular technology where I can concentrate my time, effort and money for future research and development, so that I can have a potential patent applications for such inventions or products in the market for it. Is this clear? This is also referred to as grayscale. So as the name indicates, grayscale as in like, it's from a perspective of a hair. So whenever there is a white hair, they call it as you have a gray hair. I don't know why they refer to as gray, but the people generally call it as gray hair. So similarly, you try to find a particular space or particular area of the technology which is, a kind of unique in itself, and nobody has touched that particular area till date in terms of technology. Is this clear? Perfect. So these are the different types of search. Apart from this, there are many other type of search that are available in the market, but they may not be very essential for you. I'll give some of the examples which I may have taken it in future slides as well, but just for clarity, one of such search is called as citation search, or also referred to as spider search. So, whenever you write a IEEE research paper, there is always a forward citation and backward citation. So people who refer your paper are called as forward citation, whereas people whose papers you have referred are called as backward citation. Similarly, in patents also there is forward and backward citation. For example, if there is a very nice patent about something, and if that person has referred some of the patents in his research, then such patents are referred to as a backward citation, whereas forward citation are those citations wherein this particular patent would be referred by any XYZ person when he files a patent application for his invention, right? So forward and backward citation, that can also be done. I will try to show when I show in a live case where the forward and backward citation are used and how they are referred to as. Now, another type of example is called as assignee search. Assignee search means basically, assignee in very layman term is the person who is the owner of the patent, right? As the name indicates, assignee search. So a person whose patent this application is, or a person who is the owner of this patent application is called as assignee. So let's take an example. Apple is an assignee. Now I want to find all the patents which are of Apple. So what I can do is like I can restrict my search to Apple company, right? And I'll be able to see all the results which are associated with the Apple company, all the patents or the patent granted patents or the patent applications which are filed by the Apple company. I'll be able to find those results in the that search, and thus this search is referred to as a assignee search. There is also another type of search called as inventor search. So basically, for example, there are few people or few inventors. For example, let's take Einstein, right? Einstein, if I try to search all the patents which are filed by Mr. Einstein, this search is referred to as an inventor search, right? Now there are other type of searches also. For example, classification based search. Now this is a bit different concept which I would like to introduce here. Classification search is a type of search wherein every patent, whichever it is filed, it is associated with certain technology or some technology. So just for sake of clarity and to for the ease of understanding, all the people across the globe have actually categorized some of the categories, and respective technologies are put in those particular categories. So for example, there are two major types of categories. One is US classification code category, and there is a European classification code. So they call it as US classification code, US class, and they call it as EP class. IPC is one of the such kind of classification. Now this IPC is not that Indian Penal Code kind of thing. This is associated with the patent. So this is basically a category of a class which actually helps you to decide or associate your technology of the invention, and all those relevant classes or relevant patents filed in a particular class are associated with that particular technology. Is this clear? Perfect. So let us take an example here. If I'm just giving an example, if all the inventions related to software, for example, information technology or data processing related softwares are being categorized under US classification 702. Similarly, all the pharmaceutical or chemistry related inventions which are about a specific category, for example, nanotechnology, it is categorized under class 110. I'm just giving an example that may not be relevant classes. I'm just giving an example. So once I just type class 110, I will be able to see all the patent applications which are being filed across the globe, or at least in that particular patent office, whichever search I'm doing for that particular area of technology. And based on that, I will be able to grasp a knowledge about what is the advancement about the technology that is happening in that particular jurisdiction, right? I'm going to show this also because these are all associated and related search, though they are very simple search, but because you may not be aware of those search, you may find it very difficult to understand it, right? Then there is another type of search which is called as date based or application filing date based search, wherein you want to see how many applications are filed before 2019. So what you can do is like you can restrict the date on these searching databases and try to find whatever are the number of applications that are being filed before the date of filing of the application, that is for example 2009 or 2010 or any 2015, right? So these are the different types of search. There may be few other searches also. I will try to discuss them, or I will try to show them actually during the demonstration of the how searching is done, if the time allows us, obviously, right? So these are the different types of search. I hope this is clear to you. There is no confusion on that part, because novelty and patentability search are the search which are to be performed before the filing of a patent application. Infringement search and freedom to operate search are those search which are performed to check whether your patent application or whether your product is being copying any of the patent application or not. Whereas validity and invalidity search are those search which are actually used to decide whether my patent invention can be cancelled in future or not. And let us say the broadest type of search, which generally takes around 3 to 6 months of time to perform a very quality landscape search. This search is all associated with finding a small gap in the area of a technology, so that I can work in that particular area, I can develop a patent portfolio out of it, and then I can decide whether I can come up with a product or whether I can stop people from using existing products from that particular domain of technology, right? This should be pretty much clear to you now, because we have discussed it couple of times now and I have reiterated multiple times the difference between the searches. Still, if there are any queries where you feel that you have not understood anything, or if there is any confusion on any particular category, please do let me know, and I'll be happy to discuss again and try to easy the distinguishing features or distinguishing parts between the different types of searches. But most importantly, at the moment, from the patents perspective, only novelty search and patentability search is very essential for you, but all these other search are just for your understanding or for making you understand that there are different many types of searches in patent also, right? Moving on, when to do a patent search or when to do a prior art search, especially the patentability search. Like I told you, patentability search is a search which will help you to understand or to decide whether the criterias, that are the three criterias, novelty, inventive step and industrial applicability, are being achieved by your invention or not. So this search, as I told you in the previous slide, that this search is expected to be performed before you file a patent application at the patent office, right? This is very important to understand here. So you cannot just perform patentability search anytime as per your wish. The importance or the impact of patentability search would be only when you have not filed a patent application but you intend to file a patent application, and only then it is essential to decide or to understand if I file a patent application whether I will get a patent application granted for or not, right? Now, in this patentability search, the question is who all can do a patentability search. Person whose invention it is or whose creation it is, he can be considered as doing a patentability search. He is called as inventor. Any person or any applicant who wants to file a patent application on behalf of an inventor can check the correctness of the patentability search, right? Similarly, whether a person who is interested to buy that particular patent can also check the possibility before the filing itself that whether I can buy the rights of this particular patent or not. Even though there is no restriction that when and how to do a search on the patentability search, but it is recommended, strongly recommended, that this search is to be conducted before you file a patent application, because novelty, inventive step and industrial applicability are the three criteria which are checked during the examination, and if you readily have those details available with you, you can utilize them to clearly make the examiner understand during the examination while drafting the application itself that our invention is novel, inventive, and industrially applicable. Right? I hope this is clear to you.